Hey guys, it's Paul Jang, and I'm going to be talking to you about land investing. This is an article I wrote back in 2020, December 19th, well, for 2021, but it is highly applicable to today. And I'm basically going to give a review of land investing. What I'm doing is I'm doing a series of videos off of this article from Shopify, different passive income ideas. And what they did is they listed out all the different ways. Now, land investing, I think it's a little bit more niche, and like they have one for rental property, but land investing would kind of be under that category of real estate, and I think it's a little bit better than just buying rental property. And I'd say most of the stuff here, there's other things in here that I might recommend over land investing based on your situation, but yeah, what I basically did was I created criteria. So here's the criteria. The criteria is basically it's money potential. So I put here income stream. So money potential, speed to get the money, your time investment, your money investment, how difficult is the work? Is it scalable? Is it competitive? Is it location specific? And what I did was I tallied up the raw scores, 1 through 10, 10 being the best, 1 being not so good, and created a, percentage. Um, so basically 100% would be that you get tens on everything. So that's pretty difficult. If there's no time investment, if there's no money investment, there's no it's so fast and you can make so much money, right? It's so scalable, there's no competition at all, and you could do it from your home. That would be 100, right? Like 100%. So um these if you kind of think of like the baseline, I just put like a 9 to 5 job, and that gave you about 48.75%. That goes a little bit up or down. Like, for most people, it's location specific, so I give it a lower score. If you were totally remote, that would be a 10, right? That would change it to 57%. But even with that, it's still pretty significantly lower compared to, like land, something like land investing. So, like, I think I put here 3, because I think um, for those, it's you're going to be required to stay kind of in the vicinity of your job unless it's a remote job, right? You could even put it at 1, if you have to be there like every day. So here's how I kind of broke it out. Like the land investing, just so you're familiar with it. The idea is basically you buy land. So in 2018, I bought a 1 acre land. This was in New Mexico for $200, and I sold this one for owner financing. So I got my money back in the down payment, and then I got monthly payments of about $40 for like 36 months. And so these types of deals, we start with smaller deals, get proof of concept, get comfortable, go through closings, and we stacked these up and kind of worked our way to some bigger lots. So, with any of these, I'm seeing that there is like a learning curve, and I think if you have the way I see land investing compared to some of the other ones is it has a lot of good synchronicity with a 9 to 5 job. What I mean by that is, a 9 to 5 job is going to pay for your living expenses, right? Like unless you're, a doctor or some, crazy successful salesperson or a CEO or COO, something of that sort, your potential of money is pretty much capped. And land investing, it's not like that. So it gets a higher score, right? The speed to get the money, for most jobs, you're gonna expect, your payment in about a month. Whereas with land, you might not see it month to month, especially if you're in the beginning stages. Once you get recurring revenue, you could expect that every month. But like if you're expecting, cash deals regularly, you have to. It just takes some time to get that going, right? So generally, the way I see it is you have to have multiple deals in place to um, um, get access to speed, right? In one deal, you might get, you know, from purchasing it to selling it to someone else, it might take a month to 9 months, right? But once you have multiple deals, then if one closes in 3 months, another one closes in 4 months, another one closes in 5 months, another one closes in 6 months. Once you have like a pipeline, I think that's where the speed comes in. So especially when you start doing owner financing and you're stacking monthly deals, like people that are going to pay you monthly to purchase the property from you. I think that's when you'll start seeing if things snowballing. So this is what I think. What I mean by synchronicity. If you have a nine, um, if you're relying on land investing to just pay for everything right from the get go, I'm not sure it's going to be for you, since it's going to take time for you to build up. It's got a lower score, right? But the time investment is pretty minimal from a lot of the other businesses that I've seen. Even when I tried really, really hard to spend a lot of time in the business to working at full time, there's things you can do, but you could do like text messaging campaigns. You can do Craigslist posts and Facebook posts. There's a lot of hands-on things you can do, but most of it can be automated, with systems or like with software, or you could hire a inexpensive virtual assistant from overseas to do some of that manual labor for you. And especially when you set it up, like I spend 2 to 3 hours a week on my land investing business. If you're working with some of the bigger lots and you're purchasing property, like there's realtors out there that will sell land. And I say this, it wouldn't really work for these $200 lots, but once you get to the ranges of 20,000 and up, there's realtors that would take that property and try selling it for you, do the marketing and everything. And so your overall time investment in this type of business model is pretty minimal. Your money investment, so, with a job, you're, they're not, most jobs, they're not expecting you to put up capital, to do your work. Even if you have traveling expenses, it's usually covered by, your job. But with like land investing, there's a couple of capital expenditures that you'll have to worry about. One is your marketing expense. I generally like direct mailers. There's different avenues to pick up a property, and um, there's ways to mitigate the cost. Like instead of doing mailers, you can go to tax auctions, pick up property for land pretty inexpensively, but then that would, increase your time commitment. So this would be a lower score. So there's kind of a balancing act. The way I function, and at least the business model that I'm following is I'd send out mailers, get a response of people that might be interested in selling. Um, and then, from there, you pick it up and then just list it with a realtor or list it on, a land listing site and then just sell it. And I think this score can go lower or a little bit higher depending on how you set it up. Do you use JV partners to also pay for your property? These are some of the things that you could do to mitigate your money investment. But generally, I started with $1,000, and I made this work. Like this deal, just working with super cheap property, and I used my job, at the time. I mean, 2018, I like just moved back into the States or pretty close. And, I was using, I did Uber for a bit and I had my teaching position and I used that to kind of cover my monthly expenses. And I used, did land investing kind of as a side hustle and kind of built up to where I'm at right now. And so, how difficult is the work? um, you know I put your land investing, it's pretty easy. It's basically shuffling papers. The way I see like land investing is, it's, if anything, kind of boring. That would be my condo land investing. Like, it's not like rehabbing a house where you're seeing like this miraculous transformation from a beat up home to like a really nice new home, right? With land investing, I'm generally just picking up the lot and selling it. Sometimes I might, subdivide the property, get a big piece of property and cut it into smaller pieces so I could sell more per acre, right? But that's as difficult as it gets. Like, I really don't, spend that much time on it. Like I said, like my time investment is pretty minimal. It's like 2 to 3 hours a week. That's kind of it. Um, and usually it's like spread out, maybe like an hour here, and then 15 minutes here, or 15 minutes here. I really don't spend much time at all. So is it scalable? What is it passive? Does it have this compounding effect? Like with your job, it's not the case. Like it's gonna you can't replace yourself from the job that you've been hired to do, right? It's not kosher unless maybe you are a sales agent of some sort and you're strictly commission, right? And you're gonna hire your own salespeople, right? Or hire an admin person. But with like land investing, it has this compounding effect where um, it's you pick up a property and you sell it. You pick up a property and you sell it, and then you pick up a property, sell it with owner financing. Pick up another property, sell it with owner financing. Pick up another property, sell it for cash. And what ends up happening is you start getting an inventory, of different property in different states and different counties, and you know, some of those will go for owner financing, and it has a compounding effect. Um, but it's additive. That's why I don't give it like a 10 or like a 9, because it adds enough so that like you can get at your jobs, you can get like pretty good cash flow into the thousands of dollars. But there's like YouTubers out there that have millions of followers, and from that they generate like millions of dollars. I'm not really so sure I see land investing kind of like that. That's why I don't give it a 10, right? It's under that category of like a curve of how passive and compound it is. It'll stay, in my opinion, like pretty consistently 2 to 3 hours a week, and you just keep doing it over and over and over again. It's an additive, not a multiplicative compounding effect. I hope that kind of makes sense. Like, you know, once you have your podcast in the beginning, it's like really slow, but once you hit, it's like you get millions of people. Like it's not really like that, right? Like with land investing, it's just one at a time, kind of building upon one another. In terms of its competition, I gave it an 8 as well. Things like podcasts, YouTube's, they're pretty competitive. Um, if you're into like real estate wholesaling of some sort, like, or rehabbing homes, it's very competitive. With land, it's not the case, because if you think about it, if you have a $20,000 lot, realtors aren't necessarily trying to get that listing as hard as some of the houses, right? You're talking about a more niche property, and even if a realtor was gonna try listing a land, they'll take it, but they're not going to spend marketing dollars trying to find those listings, right? Because what is 3 or 6 or 8% of a $20,000 lot? You know, it's going to be less than a house, right? So um, even like with the wholesaling market for real estate or rehabbers, like y- many times you'll see signs like, "Oh, we buy houses." There's a huge market for dilapidated houses. It's not the case for land. When's the last time you saw a sign saying, "We buy land"? Right? It's just a lot less competitive. And strictly speaking, there's more land out there in the United States than there is houses. So you just kind of think like, oh, the potential for development, the potential to just kind of buy and sell, the potential to do subdivisions or other things, right? Like it's a much easier market to get to than the real estate investing, the real estate sales side, even some of the other passive income streams. So in terms of location specific, I give it a 9 out of 10. And I'll say this: in the United States, we're very blessed with really good data, and so it's location specific in the sense that most of your deals are going to be in the United States. At least the way I have it set up. We picked up a property in Mexico, but that was through a referral from my wife's uncle, who is in that market, and they told us it's a good deal. But the data, land investing, at least in the United States, is pretty heavily reliant on having good data. And even with that data, it's less than houses, right? Houses, like, you get all sorts of sales data and etc. With land, it's a little bit less. That's even more true in different markets overseas. In Canada, you can't get like data, right? So when you think about it, it's um, you can do this kind of anywhere, right? You could do that. You can do this. Like I started in Texas, in San Antonio, Texas, I've moved to Lynchburg, Virginia, and I am able to continue this business like no problem, right? Um, it might get a little bit trickier though. Like if I went overseas and I had to use a notary or something like that, I might have to go to the bureau. But there's like e-notaries now, and things like that. But that's why I give it like a 9 instead of a 10. It's not a pure online business, but it's pretty close. If you don't see yourself being overseas like in the near future, it's pretty much a 10 for you. So, but that's why I gave it a 9. Um, just because if you go overseas, you'll have to like adjust a couple things. So the score over here was 58 out of 80 then because of 80 categories, and it came out to 7250. I don't know if you see like behind. There's a lot of scores, some in the 50s, some in the 60s. So far, I've been going through the Shopify list, and I haven't seen anything that I'm like, whoa. But maybe that's out there. I already see affiliate marketing, and I know like that's going to be a little bit higher, or selling stock photos online might be a little bit higher. But yeah, there's definitely opportunity out there. I would say none of these things are entirely passive. The only thing that's like really passive, like you don't have to do anything, is like you know investing in like a mutual fund, or an index fund, or some kind of investment in that sort. Um, Even like tax liens, I don't think are like entirely passive. They're more passive than this setup, but it's yeah, that's kind of the land investing world. What I would do is I'd look at synchronicities. I think land investing is really good for like the 9 to 5 job because of your time commitment is pretty minimal. So it's not good if you have no money. So if you had nothing, I would actually. This sounds counterintuitive, but if you don't have money, you don't have a way to pay your bills. I would say just get a 9 to 5 job, and then from there have a side hustle or another business or a different income stream that you're kind of working towards. And and then so that's kind of my thought, unless you have like a chunk of cash that you're able to live off of as you're working through different businesses, you know but that's kind of how I see it. you know I think land investing is really good for people that have a job or have some other revenue source, and they're thinking of it as an investment that takes minimal amount of time, and you're able to get deals. Where you pick up something for 5,000 and you're able to sell it for 15 or 20,000 dollars. There's a healthy profit there, right? That's kind of what I view of land investing, a much less competitive market than other real estate niches in general, and generally just a little bit more stable than some of the other ones too, right? Like once you pick up an asset like a land, it's not going to go away from you, right? You're going to have that under your name indefinitely until it sells. So that's it for land investing. If you are interested in land investing, I put a link in the description below for a course that we have. It is how my wife and I were able to quit our jobs and move cross country. I'm the oldest. I went back to college. I'm the oldest grad student in this college. I'm going to Liberty University. For those that are curious, and I'm able to do things in my life than just working a 9 to 5. So there's that. If you want this Excel sheet, um, this was something that I've been kind of working towards. I'll have some variation of it. I'll put it in the description below, and I'll probably send it over to you if you're interested in that. So I will be filling this out more, and I'm thinking this is going to be a series of videos. So stay tuned for that. If you want to see that, like, subscribe. I appreciate your time. Take care. Bye.